All right, welcome back. Now it's time for us to get into our communities. A bit of community focus here is very important segment of the show that we have for you to, shine a light on some of the challenges that are happening in different communities within our nation. Now we're going to go to the Western region. Huni Valley SHS. There's a problem there. Bedbugs have basically overrun the school. Okay, it's a serious situation. Our colleague Akwesi Inimeche has this report for us. Let's take a look.
Huni Valley Senior High School in the Western region was built in 1975 and has not seen much expansion or renovation. As a result, the current population of around 1,597 students is facing congestion due to lack of space at the various dilapidated dormitories. This dormitory is one of the two girls' dormitories of the school, facing incessant bedbugs infestation, forcing the students to dismantle their beds to sleep on the floor. Some of the students who spoke to City News anonymously while complaining about the bedbugs blamed the infestation on congestion.
Okasi nyeni pamane it's me dem ampuka put me to ye niso ye break down pana nkofo if baby be sesa ye nema de ko security man bia ni campus on house ba omo hwe suyi ye ho chire ye pa wo mpuka it's me so na ye honam na basa yare nko na ye yare so ye doso form of ne be ka na ma ye ho chire nti ama ye ba na form of ani suko mpuka nti ye to bed ni ye bed ni agufo because ye the bed ni siwa ye the bed foam ni to my intimenda mpuka ne ha ye mpa.
Following the teachers' strike for cola, there was no school authority to respond to the issue at the time of our visit to the school. Meanwhile, as government drags its feet to address the school's years of congestion concerns, which have contributed to the ever-reoccurring bedbugs infestation at the dormitories, Goldfields Diamond Mines, a mining company which operates within the prestigious Huni Valley municipality through its foundation, says it will soon complete a 350-bed capacity girls' dormitory currently under construction to reduce the congestion.
We've actually sourced and ready to even procure double-deck steel bunker beds. So the beds are not going to be wood. I think GS going forward is looking at beds which are steel because of issues of insects and all that. So that's one of the things we are going to put in this facility. In terms of electrical works, we're going to provide fans for each of the dormitories, and as well for some of our targets in terms of green energy, we are using LED lights at this dormitory. So that's a little bit of what we have on the electrical. Apart from that, if you look at the space, which is 350 bed, the wings at the sides are where we have the washrooms. So each floor has 18 showers and 8 toilets. Each of the dormitories, we made room to have prefect dormitories in them, so that you could have prefect taking responsibility for each dormitory. The right wing you see here are also master's accommodation, so that you could have teachers in here who would also have keen eye.
The students who appeared happy with the progress of work thanked them for coming to their aid.
Instead of master said that from my son, I near Japan said, or my son, or my son, sure, pa. So, Mamma, why a pad and give you school, they manage our own conade, yet they are coffee. And the don't be saying, said, I want to say, Palm, why a pa. A ma, if it's me album, ama, teachers in small, or more about some high down in your baby. I died down when I said, power down my mind.
The project manager of Goldfields, however, said Goldfield is on track to completing the redevelopment of the Takwa TNA Park into the promised modern stadium by December this year.
I think that the first thing, which obviously we spoke a little bit about, is the rainfall pattern in Takwa here. Look, we had actually anticipated it, but it gets to a point where you realize there's so much rain that you could virtually do nothing, and you have to stop for some hours and all that. The second challenge and that we went through is obviously the COVID lockdown. Even though we hadn't had issues on site with regards to people getting infected, but during the lockdown, the contractor had to stop work because their support team in Accra couldn't support the project. And again, you could see there's a lot of earthworks that's ongoing here. There are some areas we anticipated to see some unsuitable material, but I mean, whilst we started the project, there were a lot of more that we had to do to get the ground stabilized. So we had to do a lot of excavation and backfilling with boulders to make sure that we have the right platform to construct. Those are the three main challenges that we have had. So we are keen and very sure that December this project will be done and dusted.
All right, so that's the story there of the bedbug infestation at the Huni Valley SHS. Okay, how do we come to this place?
You know how we come to this place?
How do we come to this place?
Congestion, poor hygiene, and a lack of effective treatment of these areas. So what are bed bugs? Very simple. They're called bed bugs, but they can be in furniture.
Yeah.
Beds, as we know.
Yeah.
Surfaces that have crevices and cracks where they can get deep in there, which makes them very hard to get rid of. You know, unless sometimes they say, oh, you just have to throw the mattress away or burn it or whatever, because Charlie, once they're in there, you can't do anything. Insecticides don't work. A lot of the chemical methods don't really work because of how deep they get into things. They bite you, they can cause lesions.
And they come out at night to feed on blood.
Thank you.
So like
there's the bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
You know, so the congestion in the dorms is one of the issues, because then it makes it very hard to maintain good hygiene, and it spreads like wildfire. Because once you're in that close proximity, Charlie, it's just a recipe for disaster. That's what they're facing.
Yeah, and you see the impact of bed bugs is sometimes underestimated. It can cause feverish conditions and sometimes even psychological problems. You know, so bed
even
bugs
allergic reactions for some people, who are very sensitive.
Yes, exactly. You know, and this is students we're talking about here who are supposed to be have the peace of mind to be able to study, to learn
and rest.
Right? And you didn't have bed bugs at home. You've come to school to come and collect bed bugs.
Charlie.
I mean, seriously.
And if you're not careful, you may even transport them home if you're carrying your stuff.
And you'll be in your bags, you'll be in your things. You know, and so this is a very serious situation. Akwesi Enimeje, who's a correspondent who brought us that report, is on the line with us. Akwesi, good morning.
Good morning, David.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, David.
Fantastic. So what are your general impressions visiting the school with what has happened and then the intervention by Goldfields?
Well, David, I would say what you are seeing there is just a fraction of what most of the secondary schools are facing in the region. The issue of congestion was actually accounted for as the reason for this bed bugs. It's a problem that many secondary schools are facing, and this Huni Valley Secondary School is not an exception. In fact, they've complained that it is even difficult for them to even sleep in the night, and so they study throughout the day. They go, to the hostel hoping to sleep, or have a good sleep, and they still have to struggle to sleep, and so they wake up not having slept, and that affects their education. According to them, the school has once done infection, but it keeps coming back all because the problem of congestion is still persistent. So for them, until the issue of congestion is addressed, this issue of bed bugs infestation will keep reoccurring. But as you know, as you saw, the good news is that Goldfields is seriously hoping to complete this storage at 350 bed capacity dormitory for them in the next few months, and the expectation is that when that one comes on stream, it will solve the problem to some extent. But it's been a failure on the part of the successive government to expand our schools. Look at the fact that now SHS is free, and so a lot of people have interest going to school, but the infrastructure to actually accommodate them is the concern.
All right. Thank you very much, Akwesi. Thank you. So I wonder, I have a few questions for the headmaster, though. How long has this problem been on, right? Did it start from the onset of the free SHS by virtue of the being inundated with numbers? Has it been there before free SHS, right? And then now, if it has maybe the onset of free SHS, this came about, then maybe there will be some respite with the new dormitories, which will decongest the spaces. But if they do have an infestation on campus, my question is, considering how difficult it is to get rid of bedbugs, they may have to shut the school down if they want to really fumigate and get rid of them.
It's serious.
See? So I'm wondering, you know, what it is that the plans are. It would be good to have this conversation with the school authorities to find out exactly what their plans are, you know, in terms of.
I think Akwesi is right. You know, he did mention that Huni Valley SHS is not alone, and it's true. We've heard complaints in the past from other schools where they have the same issue, bed bugs, this hygiene issue because of the congestion and the overcrowding in the dormitories. And again, you know, we know access is a problem. We know we don't have the infrastructure to accommodate all of the students who are now, thanks to free SHS, now have access to that education. But I think, especially when it comes to boarding facilities, we really should not go over capacity for reasons like this. And other reasons. You know, if you can't accommodate students properly in the facilities that already exist, then we need to expand for day facilities. You know, and let students go as day students, because this is just not on. Can you imagine every night having to deal with being bitten and
itching all over, you can't sleep and all of that. Then you wake up tired. You're going back to school again. You know,
it's like a punishment. Anyway, it's like a punishment.
Anyway, so we have Mr. Daniel Kobna Edu on the line. He's the head teacher at the school, headmaster at the school. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Yes, thank you very much.
So just give us a sense of how long this problem has been there for, the issue of bed bugs.
The bed bug issue has been a long-time issue. In fact, it was 2000, after the COVID break, and government wanted us to come back to school. And so now it's extended for almost a year.
Mr. Edu, sorry, your line is quite poor. I don't know if you can reposition yourself and make it easier for us to hear you.
Okay. What's it now? So, is it okay now?
It's a little better.
Oh. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. After about the situation that has been there for a very long time. Yes, the issue of the when you
all right, it seems as if we are having challenges with Mr. Daniel Edu's line. He is the headmaster of the school, Huni Valley SHS. We'll try and get back to him again shortly. And hopefully that line improves. So
the hygiene. I mean, we went to SHS. I don't remember ever anything like that. And aside the fact that we were the number that was supposed to be in a dorm, and there was enough space and each person to her bunk and all that, the cleanliness, you know, we had to do a lot of cleaning. We were scrubbing. We were, you know, we had to maintain the surroundings, our sleeping environment, and all of that. Now I can imagine it's a lot trickier because of the sheer numbers to manage all of that, because you've just got so many students in one small enclosed space. And I don't envy the heads of these schools at all.
No, but you see, here's the question. If the school has a capacity of 1,000, that's the capacity of the school. So how do we find schools that are like 100% over capacity? I don't get it.
Because we haven't built enough. We haven't compensated.
No, but the school now I don't understand. How do we do this?
You've given an opportunity for a lot more students to progress to secondary level, but you haven't built enough infrastructure at the secondary level to accommodate all of them. So you end up having to squeeze.
Mr. Edu is back on the line. Daniel Edu, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So you were saying you were making a submission earlier.
Yes, you asked whether the issue has been there for a very long time.
Yes, go ahead.
The issue of the bed has been with us, all secondary schools for a very long time. But when we're coming back from the COVID break, and the government asked Zoom Lions to come and pray. And they did that trick for almost a year. And then they came back. And they came back the second time again. And so now the Bedbugs have started coming back again. And so it is the students, the schools that are management that are trying to curtail them. So we are looking for all sorts of chemicals to do.
Okay.
So the last time they came, somebody had introduced a chemical called Bedbugs. So we tried that one on it. We dismantled all the beds and then we sprayed them on it. And so we're looking for them to curtail them come up. But this one are temporary measures. You do it 1 month, 2 months, and then they will come back again and still start complaining.
So the intervention by Goldfields, tell us how much of an impact you're expecting this to have.
Yes, in fact, we have the student population, the girls have increased astronomically. As I'm talking to you right now, we have a girls population of 1,027 as against 565 boys.
Okay.
And so with this coming in, it's coming to relieve us of so many issues. We can now admit so many girls into the system. You know, the school system, it is the girls who bring us more problems. And when they came from all over the place and then they rent houses in town, they give us so many complaints. And so even parents are not even able to sleep. And so with this one, when it is commissioned, final commission, I think it is going to help us. It's a very good intervention from the Goldfields, and we are grateful unto them.
Okay.
They are helping. In fact, they are helping.
Okay. Now, what about, is there any conversation about Zoom Lion coming back in again and doing this fumigation that happened again? I mean, I know that it was after COVID, and so we were concerned about COVID. But if it had that much impact, maybe that should be a conversation we should be having.
Yes, I think management has taken, DS management has taken it over. They are receiving all the complaints from all the schools, so I think that they will do it and come back again.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this update that you've given us. We appreciate your time. All right, Mr. Daniel Edu is the headmaster of the Huni Valley SHS. And it seems as if some respite is around the corner. Yeah,
the Goldfields intervention is really brilliant as far as solving that accommodation issue. I mean, I'm really shocked to hear that the number of girls is like double the amount of boys, and so they're overrun with having to accommodate them so they don't have to go and rent in town. And as you know, that comes with its own problems, you know, so in that regard, it's great. But, you know, he talked about the chemical methods of trying to control this, and now apparently the best way to get rid of bed bugs is non-chemical control, like vacuuming carpets and furniture, often with scraping, and then putting them in a disposable bag which is sealed, or to remove the textiles and wash them in very, very hot water, or even to freeze them. So most consumer freezers cannot kill bed bugs because the temperature is not low enough. It has to be like really, really cold. You can also steam the mattresses, very high temperature, because again, it has to penetrate very deeply to kill them. So the fumigation and stuff he's talking about is not going to be a solution. It's just going to be like
something that you do like yearly, probably every year.
Yearly won't even work because it doesn't kill the bugs. It's like it's more for the disinfection on the surface. But from what the interventions say that actually will cure this, I think they just have to chuck the mattresses and start afresh, because you can't, you know, but the vacuuming and stuff, I don't think they can.
He did mention that when the COVID fumigation happened, it took about a year before there was a resurgence, you know. So I'm sort of thinking about maybe a yearly fumigation of schools, right?
Yes. Remember the schools were also not in full operation.
That's true.
So maybe that also helped. The numbers were not during COVID. You know, the numbers were scantier than So maybe, and then the congestion came back, and with it came, oh my gosh. The issue is just so, it's simple, but not so simple to cure because of the number of students we're dealing with,
so,
you know.
So I'm wondering, though, that if, for example, if each school would take the responsibility, but then again, it's also cost, because then you have issues of, because what you're talking about, steaming, you know,
vacuuming,
boiling hot water, vacuuming, that's an extra cost to every school. You know, so then it becomes, you know, a nightmare. I think the idea of the steel beds is a great one, because at least now you remove the component of wood. Where the bed bugs can hide.
The mattresses.
Yes. I mean, the mattresses are one thing, but the wood is also part of the problem. You know, so if you remove wood entirely, and then every school has only metal beds, that's a start. You know, because it means that if you can deal or reduce the load in mattresses, they can't hide in the wood. You know, so
we had metal beds. I remember.
Like, so I don't know what happened to those.
Boarding school were all metal.
I don't know what happened to those.
We'll keep following up on it. But I know there are so many schools dealing with this issue. This is just one of them. But the access, I think we have to really concentrate on building better infrastructure. And then the day schools, you know, bringing them up to par with other schools. And this boarding issue comes with so many problems, you know. Anyway, all right. We'll take a break.
All right. Well, let's go for a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.